Hi Cancer, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you check out all three so that you know which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, you have... Alright, let's have a look. The Fool card. Okay, so new things, new places, new people, new energies in all of these different areas of life, my dear Cancerians, my lunar brothers and sisters. You are likely to be seeing changes, breakthroughs, and remember with the Fool card as well, and I said this because Gemini had this same card, obviously with a different deck, in this position, and one of the things that I said about them, said to them, is sometimes the Fool card shows up as a moment that seems inconsequential. We might not even realize that that is a moment that is going to change our life, our path in some way, shape or form. And the Fool card, whenever it shows up as a key to the week, it can sometimes ask us to invert our reality, which means to do things completely differently to how we've done them before. Now, we know that as Cancerian energies, you are somewhat a creature of habit, right? So you enjoy what is known and familiar and traditional to you. So sometimes change is not necessarily easy, but it is something that you do need to consider. For your actions and options, you've got the Seven of Cups. So this week, it's not about just adding more to the plate, all right? This is a week for you to really think about what it means to simplify what you're working on and or towards. Now, the other thing with the Seven of Cups, in terms of the options that are available to you, it may very well be that another opportunity shapes up for you this week, but you have to ask yourself, is this really feeding into what I actually want, or is it just another thing that I have to do? All right. So this is a time where I think this week it's going to be about real self-honesty and also self-discipline to say, I either have time for this or I don't. When it comes to your communications and conversations, you've got the Page of Cups. So it's an interesting card to have for work and communications. I mean, first of all, I think a lot of you are having conversations that on a heart-based level make you really happy, but it might also see you being very emotional or potentially in your feels. In your feels for a Cancer, groundbreaking. Jokes aside, you've got this with the Seven of Cups. Now, this week it's possible that your schedule might really need a shake-up of some sort. It may be that there's something that you really want to do, but you realize very quickly, I don't have the time for it. I don't have the time, I don't have the resources. Maybe you just don't have the bandwidth. And, rather than just taking on more and more and more, this week it's like, okay, you're going to have to get really serious about what needs to be removed from your schedule in order for you to move forward. So this is like a moment of real self-honesty. When it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this with the Seven of Cups, it may very well be that maybe you decide, because obviously at this point most students are out of college or university, but you might be deciding this week, actually, you know what, as much as I love this thing or this situation or whatever the case might be, it's just not practical anymore. And so maybe you have to drop one of your courses, over the course of the next academic year. But this is a moment of real self-honesty. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this week you're potentially taking stock of the job and asking yourself, being really honest to say, how much longer do I think I can do this job? How much longer do I think I've got how long, what is the shelf life of the current employment that I have? And more importantly, does this fulfill me on a creative, internal, and even, my psyche? Like, how do I feel around the job that I'm currently in? Do I feel like it's enriching or enhancing my life in some way, shape or form? Now, while this is taking place, it's also possible that your boss might also come to you and say like, oh, and by the way, we have to now give you this to do as well. And so there's a feeling here of you needing to kind of say, hang on a sec, I'm already doing quite a lot, and this maybe is the push that you need to start really thinking about whether you're going to, continue in this employment or you're going to start looking for something new. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, the workload has been steadily increasing for you guys, and I feel like it's reaching a point now where you're kind of like, okay, something has to give, right? I have to really have that hard conversation with myself and ask myself, what do I actually want? Sorry, I've got a little fan on here and I realize it's very loud. And actually it's quite cold. Right? So this week it's like you're being really honest with yourself to say, okay, you know what? Yes, my workload has been increasing, but actually do I feel like I'm working, just working harder for the sake of it? It's like I'm working more. Is this having any of the effects that I would like? Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention happy damn birthday to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful solar return. Remember to fill the day of your birthday with a little bit of everything that you want in it. So yeah, if you're a business owner, I think this is where you start to look at what is on the plate and what hasn't made the cut. For those of you that are, for those of you that are retired and no longer working, this, I think, is something that you've already invested time, effort, and energy into, something that you've put a lot of emotion into, and maybe now you start to realize, like, actually, no, at this point, I've given and I've done enough, right? It's time for me to kind of step back and, you know, kind of let everybody get on with it at this point. For your love and relations, you've got the Strength card, right? So in your heart of hearts, what is it that you want or require from your relationship? In your deep down, excuse me, for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, that Strength card, especially with the Fool, is asking you to consider in your heart of hearts, what is it that you feel will improve the relationship? And because you've got this with the Seven of Cups, there is a feeling here that maybe something within the relationship hasn't been fulfilling for some time, and you've been trying to find a way to say this to your partner where it hasn't had to be confrontational. Whereas this week, I think you're so much in your feels that it's like you just can't ignore this anymore. For those of you that are partnered as well, because you've got this with the Page of Cups, there is a heart-to-heart that happens this week. I don't see an argument, but I do see a really deep heart-to-heart conversation between you and your significant other, where you talk about how you actually feel, you get stuff off your chest. And this is akin to, like, if you've been with me long enough, you know about the Cancer Cave, right? This is where we go, if you're a cross watcher, for people that have a strong Cancerian energy in their chart, sun, moon, or ascendant, or a stellium, when we are wounded, or, you know, when things get intense or they get challenged, we disappear into our little, you know, we go into our shell, right? We go into our little Cancer Cave and, you know, we lick our wounds and we do our stuff there, and, you know, and then we emerge when we're ready. And I say us because, as many of you know, I have a moon in Cancer. And I'm very proud of that fact, by the way. He says like he chose it, but, you know, I am proud. Anyway, this is, and you know, if you know anything about Cancer energy, from time to time you have to take that shell off and give it a really good wash. And sometimes that looks like decompress, sometimes it looks like a holiday, sometimes it looks like self-care, self-nurturing, sometimes it looks like actually saying what's on your mind rather than seething about it and expecting people to know what that is, all right? Real talk, right? I can trash talk Cancer and some of our emotionally manipulative / toxic ways, because I am one, right? I have the moon in Cancer, and these are things that I've had to really work with in myself. These are things that I've had to really acknowledge about myself and say, okay, right, I can feel that coming in. What do I need to offload, right? What is it that's required right now for me to take the shell off and give it a good clean, okay? Now, for those of you that are single, oh honey, you better back up. You better buckle up, because you've got someone coming in here who I think is going to go straight to your heart space. I can't tell you their sign, but what I can tell you is that this person knocks straight on the door. You might feel like a really instant pull to them, and yet you've got so much other stuff going on, you might not feel like you have time or space or bandwidth for this. For your love and your money and materials, you've got the King of Cups. I love the King of Cups for money. because it always means that this week you're able to use your intuitive faculty to make money. So some idea that you have, some person that you connect with. King of Cups is usually a water sign male, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, coupled with the Fool card. This is not somebody that you know yet. It's somebody that you will meet or connect with this week. We know that because he falls right next to the Fool. So some conversation, some interaction, some person that you meet or connect with this week sets you on a brand new financial path that enhances your earning potential in some way, shape or form. There's also a chance this week that you could do something that feels a little bit extravagant, maybe feels a bit opulent, but it's like, you know what? This was an investment and I feel like it was totally worth it. When it comes to those of you that are when it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your reproductive system for men and women, and I have to say you've got a double hit of this energy this week. So I will say, if you are sexually active with multiple or different partners, just make sure you're looking after yourself. With that said, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Because you might be leaving with more than a smile. Get it together now. When it comes to those of you that, when it comes to your home and environment, again, the King of Cups with the Fool card, this is potentially something that you're working on either within the home that has a creative slant to it. So maybe this week you're redecorating your home, maybe you're zhuzhing up your home. I read something just recently that was really interesting that said, when you redecorate or redecorate, or when you spruce up a different area of your home, it does something to a specific energy within your life, right? So if it's your bathroom, this is like, if you're sprucing up your bathroom, you're cleansing your life. If you're sprucing up your home office, you're, inviting and invigorating business for your energy for your for your business. If you're doing your bedroom, then you're reinvigorating your sex life, and so on and so forth. All right. When it comes to the home, though, this might be a really good week to do some kind of renovation. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.